All right, excellent. I'm going to move us on to the last point here, which is maximizing your resources and labor. And the consideration here is we might not be at full staff capacity for summer operations if people are out sick, because I know all food service operations are encouraging anybody with the slightest inkling that they've exposed themselves or are feeling ill to not come to work, to not put their fellow coworkers or customers at risk. So you could be facing a labor shortage. The other side of this too is you could be feeling the financial pinch of not having the same foot traffic through your door. So you have to make the decision to reduce or temporarily reduce your labor force. And Tim, I'm going to turn this over to you. What are some considerations operators should be looking at in the short term for labor?
You know, now is a really great time to really start looking at items such as labor savers, something that might take one or two steps out of the equation for you, but still allow you to maybe add your own little twist to it. It could be some, you know, it could be steak that's par cooked, for instance, or it could be a fresh made pasta gnocchi that, you know, normally you have the time to make your own gnocchi or tortellini or whatever it may be, and people know that about your establishment. If you're losing staff members, it doesn't really become feasible at that point to continue to do things like that, even though you want to. That's where, in my opinion, labor savers come into play, where there are thousands of really great, respectable products out there to meet your every needs, any platform, as far as I'm concerned.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, and I think things like pre-cut vegetables and some of those items that maybe you wouldn't normally use, you're just not going to have the people maybe to be able to do those tasks. And so when you look at each task that you have in your restaurant, you really need to break it down and say, how can we do this the most efficient as possible? How can we, you know, eliminate steps? And I think it's truly just looking at every aspect of your operation and understanding how you could do it more efficient and better and easier.
One of the things that I know most people are considering when they're feeling the pinch is we don't necessarily want to let folks go, even if temporarily. I would suggest exploring the potential for the redistribution of labor to put people into tasks that, if we're going all in on these takeout to go meals, you know, let's take our front of house staff and have them, you know, rolling silverware or pre-packaging the wet naps and the napkins and the silverware and the containers and getting stuff prepped and ready to go to expedite that process, or to have them as greeters to hand the food to people coming up to reduce contact points and the people coming through the restaurant to pick up the food at the counter, for example. I think there's opportunity there. And one other thought would be, if you have the means, you know, if you've got a little bit saved and you've always been thinking about, you know, repainting your dining room or changing out the ceiling tiles, use your existing staff and get them some paint rollers. You know, go to Lowe's and buy some new ceiling tiles and start putting that stuff up. This could be an opportunity to make some of those physical changes that you've wanted to make to your establishment, but you never wanted to close the doors. So we're kind of in a forced situation here where the doors are closed. So what can you do during that time? And that falls perfectly into Tim's point about, hey, when you come back, this is what's waiting. So again, that whole big reveal could pull a big burst of traffic through the door when everything opens back up again.
Even use waitresses maybe to take orders and try to add phone lines, because you may need to. The worst thing is if you keep getting a busy signal, you know, if you could add a phone line or two and have your waitresses staff the phones and be able to take orders. Yeah. That would be a great way to.
Or staff the message board, you know, take orders on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever means you can get them. The easier you can make it for people to get that request in, the better. So if you have 2 or 3 people sitting there on iPhones or iPads or Android, whatever it is, messaging back and forth, that could be a big help there. And even just maybe not even taking orders, just answering questions. People, to Brody's point, are you open? You know, you're going to get that question a lot, and you're going to get questions about sanitation, safety, you know, who's bringing me my food. There are going to need to be people able to answer those questions.
I think it's an important time to kind of circle back to Tim's. Don't be afraid to talk to your distributor representative about value-added products. Some establishment, that can be kind of a bad word. Right now, if you're strapped and you need to find a way to realign your resources, value-added products have come a long way over the last number of years, and there's absolutely a number of products that can help you save time, back of house, execute good, consistent final products for your customers, and still drive repeat business. Yes, you will pay more for some, but it will allow you greater flexibility in the long run. And what does that mean? Once you find out what you want to be doing, having the ability to cut some corners like that and redeploy your labor can be tremendously helpful. It's not a bad word, value added. There's a lot of good products out there, and any of your distributor reps will be able to bring you a number of different items. Just let them know what you're thinking, and there's going to be something out there that can be of assistance and help you, especially right now when labor is going to be important, all of that. So.
Fantastic. Well, that's our 5 topics, gentlemen. Any closing thoughts from anybody on these? We've covered transitioning from a full service menu to a takeout delivery model, what we can sell effectively and effective menu planning, takeout packaging, packaging that works for your food, effective messaging to your customers, and maximizing resources and your labor.
I'd be happy to start. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and share some of my ideas with you all. Don't be afraid to be that community resource to help bring normalcy to your people. Normalcy to the people in your community. Once you have an idea of how you can effectively execute a takeout menu that still fits your style and can travel, don't be afraid to be creative and think outside of the box. What else can you add to that? How are you going to communicate that to the people around you, to your customer base? And don't be afraid to be creative. You know, right now is the time to really try something that's a little bit outside of the box. There's nothing wrong with value added. It can definitely help at times like these. And most of all, just use your establishment as a vehicle to help bring normalcy to your community in these times, because that's going to be the most value you can bring, period.
For me, I think it's don't be afraid to use your resources. You have many resources out there, whatever they may be. Your sales reps, fellow chefs in the industry. There are so many people that are in the same position as you are. So now is probably not the best time to just think, well, you know what, they're doing their thing. I'll just, whatever. Get together with these people, your peers, and brainstorm things. I mean, everybody's in this together. So use your surrounding chefs, account executives. Feel free and be eager to ask as many questions as possible until you get through this.
I would just say you can look at this as, a real burden, or you can look at it as an opportunity. And I would request or ask that you look at it as an opportunity, and not just that, it's an opportunity for you to be a positive influence and a positive light within your community, and to offer, like Brody said, some normalcy for these folks who are in their houses. And I think if you're able to take the right attitude about this and really look at this as an opportunity to serve your community, then I think everything else will fall into place.
When you're going to social media, when you're getting your message out there, I think to be a point of comfort, to Brody's point, to really capture hearts and minds and make people know that you're there for them, the use of video is going to be a very powerful tool. If you have the comfort level and the capability to go live on Facebook or Instagram, to put yourself out there, people will respond to that. They want to see that face to face. They want to see the person because they're going to be cooped up by themselves with their families. That might get old pretty quick. So if you can be that face that they see and you've got a message for them that's comfort food and chocolate, that'll resonate now and they'll remember it later. All right, gentlemen, well, thank you very much. Our goal with this is to get this chopped up and out to other distributors so that they can share with their customers in a very much a rising tide raises all ships come together type effort. So I really appreciate all of your time. And if we see that there are responses and questions and people want more of this, hopefully we can reconvene in the near future.
Absolutely.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.